Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and I'm just going over all the stuff from the opening keynote from the North American Fan Festival 2023. I've been telling everyone that means expansion details, and sure enough, full of expansion details. They don't hold Fan Fest without going over expansion stuff. That's the whole point of the opening keynote, and thus, we're going to condense some of that down into something a little more digestible, and we're going to be breaking down some of the topics and discussing it, especially in greater detail on both State of the Realm and in separate videos. So, if you didn't see the trailer, go watch the trailer. It's about 2.5, 3 minutes long. It's already up on YouTube, so you can easily go find it. And the name of the expansion is going to be Dawntrail. Curious to see how many people call it Dawntrail by accident, but it is what it is. Love the trailer. Very upbeat, very fun, and comes with a little bit of a teaser for one of the 2 new jobs that we'll be getting. At least I think it's a teaser, and I'd be shocked if it goes any other direction than that. Now, the start of the opening keynote, Yoshida comes out, welcome to Las Vegas. It's good to be at a physical fan fest again. They brought out the CEO to introduce him like they did at the Final Fantasy 16 event, the new one, Kiryu Kazuma. And that was all fine. They got started. They brought Kate out, of course, and Aime was in the back helping with translations as well. And that constituted the first 5 to 10 minutes of what we got. And then they finally got into the new details. Now, for those who have never seen the North American fan festivals before, the usual thing is we get very high-level descriptions of everything, and then a few major twists. They did that this time, but in my opinion, it was a better than average North American Fan Fest. It was missing some things, but it had a little bit of mystery and fun in there too. Things I didn't expect to get confirmations about, especially towards the end. My word, was I not expecting that ending at all, or any of the last 20 minutes of the presentation. So for those wondering about the release window, summer 2024, I've been predicting a June-ish release, but don't be surprised if it's later than that, because summer is very, very ambiguous. June is where I'm going to label my prediction, though. I know some people are going to say they're going to go September and say it's late summer. We'll find out more in October at the London Fan Festival, most likely. So get your predictions in for that one, but I'm hoping no later than June. So the big thing with Dawntrail is that we have at least one confirmed new area, and that we are going to the new world, the golden cities across the ocean that we have heard about so many times and that we were teased about at the end of 6.0 in Endwalker. And we were told this is going to be kind of like a summer vacation for us. Not that there isn't going to be something seriously happening, but that for the Warrior of Light, it's going to be presented like a summer vacation. It's releasing in summer. We're going across the ocean. There's these beautiful new sites, beaches, all these lush greeneries that we have, the new people, the festivities, tacos, everything. So, as you can see, looks New Dawn. We have a few things here. Winds of Opportunity bring a visitor from the New World seeking the Warrior of Light's aid in a rite of succession to determine Toral's new ruler. Now, the New World has always represented the Americas as far as we've known, but Toral is specifically more like the South American, culture and geographical region. And we do get a picture of the map later that will showcase that. You can also see these are some images. We have Erenville, who we now know is from the New World. He did mention recently he was going to visit his homeland soon. We have our very much glammed up Warrior of Light in the middle. And of course, we have Alice over on the right. We did see all the Scions in the trailers as well. Take with that what you will, but they do address that a little bit going on into some of the later slides. In fact, here it is right here. Little do they know that it will also see the Scions divided. So it sounds like as part of the War of Succession, we all can't be a part of one big group. I don't think this is going to be much of a disagreement, I suppose, more so that it's just going to be quite literally all playing separate roles that may see us pitted against each other as rivals. I very much equate it to in the Shadowbringers announcement. We were told how we were going to embrace darkness and become the Warrior of Darkness. It's not really what happened in Shadowbringers, so I'm kind of reading this with a little bit between the lines, a little more, my Twitch chat says divide and conquer almost, but it just means we have different roles to play. We'll see. That's just conjecture at this point. We'll see where it actually goes from there. We got to skip ahead a little bit because we got to move to the next one. Theme, a journey of discovery. Now we got a bunch of images here. The Mammal Jaw on the top right. Love to see it. There's a great little duel with Gulul Jaja in the trailer itself. What does the contest entail? What awaits in Toral, and what is the truth of the City of Gold? Prediction now, it's Allegan. Remember that I guessed that, so when it ends up being Allegans, you're not surprised. I hope it's not Allegans. Anyway, moving on to the next points. The new world, Toral, they showed us some screenshots. They showed us the new map. This is our current world map. You can see the 3 great continents that we have, but the more exciting bit is when they expand it. And we get to see the much bigger world of, well, there you can see Toral in the bottom left. You can also see another, that almost looks like a more Hraesvelgr looking dragon there in the bottom left. But either way, we get it's faded in because now it has the new world Toral. Directly behind me, you can kind of see it right here, is actually Mericidia. So we now have a better geographical idea of everything. You can also see in the top left, that's like the North America's equivalent of the new world. I don't know. Looking at some of the screenshots, it's hard to tell if Blue Mage is from the more North American, more like native tribes area. Given the lore of Blue Mage, it seems like it, but there's also the possibility of tying it in more to Toral itself. And we'll probably get more information about that. But that's been the one curious thing for me is I guess Blue Mage, because we know that originates from the New World as well. Yes, well, to travel to 3 continents. Now we're going to cross the Indigo Deep, where adventures wait beneath western skies. Then we have, just moving on. He's just talking a little bit about what he's going to talk about, like how they're going to show us some new stuff. New hub city. I can't pronounce half of this stuff very well, so I apologize in advance. So the area we're specifically going to on the continent of Toral is Toral. And the new main hub city there is Tuliyollal. Tuliyollal. We're going to Tuli. That's where we're going. We're going to my favorite, Tuliyollal. There you go. We're going to Tuli. That's where we're going. City looks beautiful, and we get some of our first looks at the graphical update. So right after this, we'll see it. But the seat of the Federation nation-state governing Toral, Tuliyollal, is located in the northern reaches of Toral. The leader is a 2-headed mammal jaw named Gulul Jaja. This is a direct reference to Final Fantasy XI, where Gulul Jaja was the leaders of the mammal jaw there. A bit of a tyrant there, but, probably not too much different here. He looks like he... where's the second head? The second head is shy. It must be on the other side of the one head. Yeah, he's probably... I wonder if he's any better over here. It's a pluralistic city with an established sea route to Old Charlian, so that is how we are going to be accessing it. Aloha. I'm in the... Look at this. See this off camera right here? Hey, relax. I'm in the middle of recording. See, I thought that the veil might be covering the second head, but at the same time, I just thought maybe he had a shoulder adornment because of where it is. All right, so either way, that's how we're going to be getting there is Old Charlian, and we start to get some screenshots that include elements of the graphical update, which they do go into greater detail later. So you can see all the different docks, the lighting, the shadows, all the boxes strewn about. I'm actually covering a few of them behind me, but you can see it's far more lush, it's far more detailed, and far more exciting to look at. You can also see an above angle of the city itself, a little bit more inland near the marketplace. And again, you can see all the shrubbery, the density of this location, which I feel like was pretty well conveyed in the trailer as well. So this is kind of one-to-oneing that in, I find, a satisfying way. So then we have just a nighttime beachside. This nighttime section, they've actually said they're not sure if this is where the houses will be. Aloha, stop trying to walk onto my lap right now. And, but all the same, this seems to be very deliberately placed more so to show off lighting, again, for the graphical update. Looks very nice. I love it. They said you won't be able to swim in the city, but you can swim in plenty of other locations in Toral, so don't worry too much about the city itself outside of your normal stuff. Now, they show us 2 new areas. The first one is Urkopacha, and that I didn't realize that was a Q immediately. So Urkopacha, which I'll just call Pacha for short, most likely. A mountainous region in Toral, home to both exceedingly large and unusually small races. So the Gigas very likely making an appearance here. Whether or not it's the Kikerns or something like a Lalafell tribe that actually persists here, we're not really made aware of just yet. But either way, that's just a general detail. We'll get more about that in the future. Over 1,000 years ago, long before Tuliyollal came to be, Urkopacha was the proud heart of the Giants' empire, which spanned the entirety of Toral. While their descendants live on in the regions, only ruins remain of the empire's glory days. We're assuming by Giants, they mean the Gigas, which we have, of course, encountered over on our main continent of Ilsabard. So that's it. Oh, well, actually, we do know, I guess, small in stature. See, I've been thinking about the small in stature thing, but we do know of a tribe in Urkopacha, but they don't look small. They just look small compared to the giants. So it could just be that that's a comparative point. We'll get to that in a little bit. We do get a few screenshots again with the lush environments, with the lighting, with the little snow-capped mountains in the back as you see that go up in elevation, but the far more tropical looking things that are here on the ground. I mean, there's even cactus around here as well, or yeah, just all sorts of more tropical looking stuff despite the snowy mountains all the way in the back out of the way. You can see the new aetheryte in the middle there. It looks quite glorious, very, very well adorned for an aetheryte, but I'm not too surprised. We've had some pretty good looking aetherytes in the other locations as well. And yeah, again, here you just get these very highly, you can again look at the textures. They made sure to point out especially the textures on the houses themselves, because these are all representative of the work they have accomplished thus far on the graphical update. But yeah, just a few new screenshots of that area. Then we get Toral, and yes, the Tel is deliberate with the apostrophe that's in there. And this is another thick forest area. You can use a dirigible. You can Tuliyollal via dirigible flight over the southeastern mountains, so dense its foliage that the forest floor sees little sunlight. So it says that makes it sound more like a canopy, but what we see is a lot more open. You can also see some river areas and some taller Ixal-esque, I guess, buildings, I suppose, here as well. I don't remember if the Ixal, because we know where the Ixals are really from, but I think the Ixals are present. I think they mentioned something named Toral in their quests at some point, like when they migrated over to. I can't remember. I actually need to go back and look at the Ixal quest just because the structures here are very Ixali in nature. So as much as we know their true origins, either way, home to the primary settlement of Toral's Hrothgar and Mammal Jaw, and replete with stunning cenotes harboring cerulean ponds and springs. The Hrothgar section is very important. We have not seen an actual Hrothgar civilization, and for those who don't know, Hrothgars are matriarchal. There's very few women in their lore, and they regularly are raised to points of power. We know we're getting female Hrothgar as a playable race in 7.x. We don't know if 7.0 or even before. We know it's coming, I suppose, is the point. So the fact that we actually have the home lands here that have female Hrothgar, of course, is our lore opening for these to be a little bit more regular and for things that we will experience. It very also likely means we're going to meet a main character in the MSQ who is a matriarch of a tribe. Very, very likely, in my opinion, that we will see all of that. And of course, the Mammal Jaw being here, that we've had them around for ages. We've known they're from the New World. We know Gulul Jaja is, the leader of Tuliyollal. Tuli. And so, yeah, none of that's too surprising, but it's just, building out the world and the exploration. And again, they want to show us the graphical updates, the screenshots of what the new areas look like. You can see the dense vegetation, the tall grass, all the trees, all the different plants that they can now do. They said there's new types of plants they can do with the graphical update as well to give you a better idea, the lighting, the shadows, all of that stuff. And I think it looks fantastic. So as we're going to skip ahead here a little bit, we get an above angle of that as well, of that little town right there with the aetheryte over on the right. And yeah, not much else to say about this. Just, again, I can see the forest floor. I don't know. New allied tribes. So this is what I was talking about earlier with the previous area with... I need it in front of me again. Urkelpacha. Until I get used to saying it, I'm going to need it in front of me. The Pelu Pelu, which are very similar to Final Fantasy X Tools' Tobli. So I know what you're thinking. I know what you're... No. But the Pelu Pelu, they're one of the tribes that are here. And the diminutive people, so the small people compared to the giants, most likely. How short they actually are from the screenshots, kind of hard to tell. They could be, just people-sized here, but it's like a little ambiguous just with the way they're phrased here. Seldom seen without their distinctive masks. Very similar to the dwarves. You almost never see them without their helmets and the beards on. So just kind of a similarity there. And they are entrepreneurs who travel the continent on alpaca back. So we're probably getting alpaca mounts. Nothing else to say about that. Get a pet alpaca. We get a pet alpaca that we can ride alpaca back. There you go. And then I think, oh yeah, they accidentally went ahead and got rid of that. And then renowned producers of tea, coffee, and mezcal, tequila. So whether you want to have an upper or a downer, they've got something for you. All right. Moving forward, they go back to the on stage right here. And then they have an also coming in 7.0. These are just some other features. Just a quick rundown. The level cap going up to 100. We get a brief glimpse at some of the artifact gear in the back. Very clearly the samurai gear on the left. I believe that's a monk on the inner left. I think you can see the fist. It's hard to tell if they are just adornments along the side or if they are actually fists. But it does look very monk-esque standing next to the samurai. The paladin, of course, dead center. I don't know if that's a black mage on the right with the eye covered and everything, but that's like ultra, like that reads to me like Talon in League, which makes me think ninja. But the iPad, I mean, it's or like edgy, like I don't know, that the one in the middle right confuses the heck out of me. It could be so many different jobs, but it looks cool. And then you've got the very small hat on the scholar on the end. Moving forward, they're going to just quickly go over some new features, job additions, which is updates to current jobs. And finally, of course, multiple new jobs. We have 2 jobs confirmed. We don't know what they are, but we know 2 things about them. The first one is that one is a melee DPS and the other is a caster. We know those are going to be the 2 roles. Double DPS expansion, and now you can start basing your predictions based on that. Detail number 2 is Yoshida's shirt. Our classic Yoshida shirt hint, and I have never been more confused about a shirt hint before. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I haven't looked at the creator's name to see if there's a hint or if there's another comic or if there's something else, but immediately, all the theories that came out, I was like, you know what? After the Spider-Man thing, I'll believe any of them. They're green Mage, they're turtles, Beastmaster, they're named after famous artists, Pictomancer, it's like, there's going to be a bow staff. In the trailer, we see what I think is a corsair, personally, or a pirate of some kind, as the warrior of light, who they kind of obscure. They show us he's got like one kind of short sword, and he gets in a duel, and it's not like any of the swords we have, and he doesn't have a shield, so he's not paladin, obviously. So it's like, so then I think, I don't know, Leonardo's got 2 katanas, but maybe that's like dual wielding, or maybe he's a weapon master. I saw somebody say they're turtles, like Guido from Final Fantasy V, who helped the Dawn Warriors, Dawntrail, and Bartz can play every job and is a weapon master. And I'm like, you're all right. I don't even want to try to figure out what's more right, what's less right. I don't even want to try to figure it out. I like throw your guess out there. It could be right. I have no idea. I don't even know where to go with it at this point. All of them work. All of them could make sense. All of them could be complete rubbish. But that's our hint. Our hint. Maybe it's mutant. Who knows? Maybe it's mutant, and the mage is gonna be like a druid, and we transform. I don't know. Do whatever you want with that. Create your headcanon. Somebody will be right. That's all there is to it. One of you will be right, and I don't know who, and I can't discredit anyone. It's wild. All right, it's a wild choice for a shirt hint. And look, there he is. There's the thing. I think he's Corsair here. He's got the one short sword. I think he's keeping a gun somewhere. Maybe the shirt's not talking about this job as the thing. Maybe it's talking about the caster job, which is why they picked him. Go nuts. I'm done. Anyone could be right. Just throw the idea out there. It's whatever. Anyway, core battle content, fates, hunt, treasure hunts, side quests. And they're level. It says level synced side quests under it. Essentially, like if you're level 81 and you do the quest is 81. If you're 91 and you do the quest will be 91. If you're 98, it'll be 98. You know, the level adjusted quests that we had in Endwalker. You know, no surprises there. New dungeons, not challenging new dungeons, just new dungeons. Okay, that's it. I'm trying to skip. You can see I like the dude like this in the picture. Just, I don't know. It brings me joy to see that. New threats. You know, we're going to have some opponents, and we find out what is very likely one of our new trials. I don't think they're going to Anima and Magus Sisters us with this again. Valagramanda. That is a Final Fantasy VI reference. Some of you may know him as Tritok. Whatever. Whatever you want to call him. One of our opponents here. And, yeah, we'll probably be fighting them. Why wouldn't we be fighting them? Duty support update, all the new dungeons. Now, they did mention, I think, something about like introducing duty support to 8-man instances. So stuff like the trials in the MSQ. If I recall correctly, I think they mentioned that during this presentation, but I was still kind of just talking about Valagramanda, so I kind of got skipped over. Why am I even guessing? We could just listen to it. Just listen back. Just listen to it back real quick.
We'll be bringing updates to duty support.
Wait.
今回もですね、メインクエスト、対象となるダンジョンに関しては必ず対応されています。
Of course, we can promise that there will be duty support for
Yeah.
all dungeons involved in the main story.
Okay. All right. So my Twitch chat's filling me in. He said there's some other update to it, but it ties too much into the story for him to talk about it here. So maybe that's it, but who knows? We do get one 8-man duty support that does exist. I think they should probably bring it to more because it just makes sense. But yeah, there's something he wanted to talk about but couldn't because it was a story spoiler. That was the big thing with the duty support update that he didn't talk about. But so it was my chat just guessing that's what it was going to be. New gear and recipes. I mean, that's not much of a surprise. You've got miner, you've got we've got a botanist over there. I can see that. I think that's a fish. Is that fishing in the middle? I think that's fishing in the middle with the tackle box. I don't even know. Yeah, so these are new crafting and gathering, just gear sets that you can see. New gear and recipes. No surprises there. Skipping ahead a little bit. New lifestyle content. So they related this to Island Sanctuary and said that it's something that's more kick back and relax, which barely describes Island Sanctuary when you're trying to actually level it. They didn't say it was a new island or a new island sanctuary. They didn't say that. They just said it's in the vein of that, but they weren't ready to talk about it just yet. So there's nothing else to really say here. Now, there is some surprises here. New variant dungeons, which implies they're planning on continuing. It is very important that they've been listening to feedback about variant, and note that it doesn't necessarily say Criterion. I think they would include Criterion here because I think they see value in having difficult 4-man content. And hopefully now with the feedback on the rewards from the first two, we can see improvement. However, I will be very skeptical on that statement I just made if we don't see improvement in the third one. I've spoken about this in great detail. I think they were never going to incorporate feedback from the first one into the second one, much like what happened with Animos and Pagos, where it was already too into the development to do anything else with it. However, that usually means the third one, much like Pyros, can receive some form of feedback. And so the hope is that that is the case. I will revisit this topic with the variant and Criterion stuff. I would like to see all dungeons be variant dungeons, and I'd like to see a roulette. I'd like to see the roulette kind of force you down whatever path the NPC picks, and then give it some longevity, give it some more involvement in daily or weekly gameplay. New Alliance Raid series, they said this one will be even more Final Fantasy than Myths of the Realm. So take that as you will. A new 8-player raid, they didn't talk about that too much. Now, it says new Ultimate Raid, singular, but when it was translated, they said raids. So take that as you will. Could have just been a quick slip of the tongue and that there's only one. We don't know. I'm only going to present both of the things that are on screen and what were said to you. So that's what we have here. Now, that's not the only slide. We do have one more in regards to the kind of contents we come to expect. There will be a new PvP update. They're going to be updating Rival Wings, updating Crystalline Conflict, and updating and adding a new map to Frontlines. Or at least that's what the translation came out as. So we are going to be getting significant stuff. Also, I can't wait for the Crystalline Conflict tournament at FanFest. It's going to be a lot of fun. Skipping ahead, there are going to be ongoing content updates. They are planning another Blue Mage update. That is going to be the one that takes it to level 90. Interesting. More Hildebrand. New plans for Deep Dungeons, but there's kind of an asterisk next to this one. They said that they do have plans for Deep Dungeon related stuff, but that they are still exploring the possibility of other battle related contents instead of Deep Dungeon. So that is not necessarily a confirmation of Deep Dungeon. So just asterisk next to that one. Put that aside, revisit it later. It's not a permanent confirmation, but I think we probably will see that. And a Gold Saucer update. Now, that is not to be confused with the Gold Saucer update they promised us for 6.x, which they do detail later. And oh boy, they detailed it. So that's another one for 7.x, essentially. But they do give us detail on the 6.x one. And I promise you, if this is your first time hearing about it, you're not ready to hear about it. Now, also the first graphical update. Now, it's clear. The reason it's the first graphical update is twofold. One, it's not like they would ever only choose to update the graphics once. If they want to update it again, they're going to do it. More importantly, though, the graphical update they told us when they first unveiled it, like a year and a half ago, was that it was going to be gradual. So they were going to work on some aspects, and then as patches went on, update other aspects. So some parts of the game are going to look great with the new graphical update, and some things are going to look old and ratty still until they get updated. That's especially true. All the 7.0 stuff is going to be all graphically updated right from the get-go, and then 2.0 stuff, and then they'll gradually, as they said, close in on the other expansions. However, character models that are I guess applicable to like things that use assets that we can access, like that are not completely unique character models. Those are most likely going to be updated right from the get-go because they use the same assets. So they're just naturally updated. Their goals with it, screen-wide aesthetic appeal. That just means, the lighting, the shadows. It means just it looks better. Higher resolution textures and shadows, material qualities. But they still want your character and your game to look like, what you've come to expect. So while maintaining the same artistic style. We do get a kind of brief appearance here of some of the updated stuff. So you can see the paladin armor with the shininess to it. On the left is the new, on the right is the old, which is weird for me, but that's fine. Either way, you can see the way the metal glimmers, the lack of too many pixels, the warrior Derplander's face here. And then they do briefly go over. I had a harder time seeing the updates to the facial models right here as they wipe them over. This one was really obvious, but some of them I kind of struggled with. You can see the eyes change more than anything, and the contouring a little bit as well when it goes across some of them. I think the female Al Ra there one really popped like immediately. You see the eyes change a lot going into this one, especially on the left right now. Yeah, there's a lot of softening of the lines, far fewer pixels. As they said, the hair quality goes up considerably. The eye quality goes up considerably. The eye quality and the reflection on the iris is one of the most notable things that you get here, I think, at the very least. And yeah, that glow up in particular is very big. This one was, I noticed, but it was still a little hard for me to see. The eyes only look a little bit better there to me personally, but then they go over some more screenshots here. You can see on the left, this is Doma Castle. The walls on the left is, the graphical update. And then on the right, you can see all the like kind of hardened scales, and they're not very realistic as like a shiny gold metal that are there. And then we go forward. They stay on this screenshot for a long time. Yeah, and then they show us, the banquet hall for Old Da. The vegetation is one of the biggest changes when you go to the swipe over that it does. That was the first thing I noticed, at least. See all the vegetation and how it changes. I mean, everything gets kind of brighter and more, like the lighting and the stones all begin to pop a little bit more, but the actual plants in the plant pots, those stand out to me more than anything. Oh, we have a nice side-by-side here. You can see the medals on the back of the chair. It's not even the banquet hall, technically. That's just the hall where all the syndicate meets, which I think they also do use as the banquet hall anyway, so that's what I'm saying. Regardless, besides the point, just a few more examples, and then, yeah, you have this. This is the washover of what we just saw, so you'll see it right here. When it washes over, bam. Yeah, very, very noticeable difference with all the lighting and the glowiness and all the metal materials really beginning to shine and pop and stuff like that. They do bring up the grapes. They said they can't give any more polygons to the grapes. They're tapped out. That's done. They apologize. This part was very impressive. So one of the changes that's going to be kind of game-wide immediately because of the assets they use is grass and vegetation. And oh boy, they were like, make sure you look closely to see. I was like, look closely. It couldn't be more obvious when I look at these two things side by side, like which one is the I don't need to try to look hard at all. It's immediately recognizable and noticeable as soon as you get into these field areas and in the grass and in all the, just everything. It's immediate. Like, especially here, look at Ilmeg. Back to back. Look at all the liveliness of all the plants and flowers and grass. It's so immediately recognizable. So yeah, that's very, very impressive. Good to see. Really glad to see auto-generated environments. Again, I think because of the way they do grass, that's just like a natural way of describing it. And then they stay on this for a while. We are seeing some significant system updates. The first one got the loudest cheer of everything at FanFest. So that should tell you how important it is. Dual die channels. two die channels for gear. They said this would also be gradual. They're trying to do as many things as they could here with both gear and furniture. They said furniture is probably going to be a little bit tougher for certain ones, and for gear, they will also gradually update it. If there's pieces that don't have it, they'll like gradually work on it. But yes, you will have 2 die channels now for gear. So you can go nuts with the customization and try to make the perfect color scheme and all that. They know glamour's the true end game. This by far got the loudest cheer of everything in the opening keynote. Moving forward, they're also releasing a new glam slot. Basically, you're now going to have a glasses slot alongside your headgear. No stats on it or anything like that, but now you can wear something on your face and on your head at the same time. So that's going to be another customization option for people. They said it doesn't take up any armory chest space, which is worrying to me because I'd rather it have its own armory chest space, but I know that's not exactly an easy thing to do. So glam chest is about to get a little bit fuller, I would assume. It might also just function as a fashion accessory, but I'm not entirely sure because don't we have glasses that are fashion accessories right now? But I guess if you have a helmet, but it says it's a new type of gear alongside of headgear versus directly being a fashion accessory. So it's a little bit ambiguous, but either way, wearing a hat and glasses at the same time is going to be possible. And then the next announcement, this was actually not a brand new announcement. Furnishing limit increase planned for 7.x. They told us this when they showed off Island Sanctuary for 6.4 and the outdoor furnishings there. So just a reconfirmation of something we already knew. Now, things got loopy from here. Lot of surprises. This isn't one of them. Changes to system requirements. They're updating the graphics card in particular, as well as the CPU. Going to a 9700 or higher for the CPU, doubling the memory recommended system settings, and going from a GTX 970 and RX 480 to an RTX 2060 and RX 5600 XT. Also, screen resolution 1080p. They're not dropping PS4. They told us that a long time ago. These are just updates to the recommended system requirements on PC. But if you want to keep playing on PS4, that's not going to be a problem at all. You just won't really see much of the updates or the graphical stuff. But it should be able to be perfectly fine. Then we go a little bit further forward, and we get this. This isn't a final screenshot, but they are adding a raid planner or a collaborative editor or strategy board to Final Fantasy XIV. You can easily place things around in the game itself. You can get AoE indicate. You can move and drop everything like you would be able to in certain third-party websites and tools that people use. And more importantly, if we look at the strategy board itself, you can A, collaborate with people to work on the board together, B, save them for later, and C, send them to people because there's a received section there. So I'd like to assume you could just send this to someone to save and then they just have it. So if they ever forget or don't know a strat, they can just pull it up on their own strategy board. One would hope that is what it's primarily going to be used for, because then everyone will just have the strategies and the placements and everything all set. So, it's either way, fantastic addition to the game and very much glad to see. Now, just treat it better than Duty Recorder and we'll be fine. Make sure it's updated frequently. We can use it on all the most recent stuff. It doesn't matter. Even if they didn't update it, we would still be able to use it on all the most recent stuff. Now, still to come in 6.x, they are expanding the free trial. This was also big news. You now have to update all of your copy pastas because the free trial, the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV, will now be available with an expanded free trial that includes the first 2 expansions in that of Heaven's Ward and Stormblood. It allows you to go up to level 70, and this also means we have free trial ultimates. We got Free Cobb, Fruwu, Budget Legends. That's crazy. It also, I guess, would mean Eureka and Baldessian Arsenal and Ozma. And that's a lot of stuff. It also means 2 deep dungeons, Heaven on High as well. Although I think Palace has its own limitation. Unless they got rid of that. I don't remember. I think they got rid of that when they raised it to level 60. I think they got rid of that. I don't remember. It's been a while since I looked at the free trial. Either way, it's going to be far more expansive than it is now. And that comes, you can Necromancer on the free trial. Yeah, so you'll be able to Lone Hero on the free trial as well. Right, I have seen people do that. I have. Yeah, so you'll be able to do that as well. So the free trial just massive, massive value improvement. And that's in 6.5, which is currently predicted, not confirmed, to be early October 3rd or October 10th. So that's going to be another massive thing. And that's great. That's cool. But that's far from the only announcement they had. So here's where he starts saying like, oh, what about a new gold saucer update? I told you about a new gold saucer update. Oh, no, actually, no, I'm sorry. This is before that. I jumped the gun a little bit. He says that they're planning a new collaborative effort. And boy, did I not see this one coming. They're adding Final Fantasy skins to Fall Guys. You can see a Gubu. You can see a Dragoon, who, of course, takes the thing and gets hit. And then you can see Alpha Noah and Alice. And there's all sorts of skins for Fall Guys here. There's a Namazu. But this is not a one-sided collaboration. Remember that Gold Saucer update that we were promised ages ago? We were like, I wonder what it is. And when I realized it before they actually said it. It's Fall Guys in Final Fantasy. That's our new Gold Saucer mode. It's they're aiming for a 24-man total number of people. It is legitimately Fall Guys in Final Fantasy 14. This isn't a joke. This isn't a meme. And I'm all for it. I'm genuinely all for it. I just can't. And this is in 6.5x at some point. We don't know when. Probably 6.58 if I had to guess, but they said they're not sure on the timing just yet. But this is a thing. This is one of our updates in 6.5x. And that's nuts. This was on nobody's bingo sheet, nobody's prediction board. And I'm just kind of all about it. I'm perfectly cool with that. But that still wasn't the last announcement. The last announcement was something that has been mocked and laughed about and joked about and abandoned as an idea for years and years and years. They brought none other than Phil Spencer on stage to announce the Xbox version of Final Fantasy XIV. It is an actual reality at this point. The CEO even comes out later and says they want to release more games on Xbox, which is a far cry from what we've seen in the last several years. So that's going to have to be a new initiative as far as I'm concerned. Final Fantasy XIV on Xbox. They do a lot of PR speak here, but Xbox Series X and S, faster loading, 4K support on the Series X. It will be releasing on the Xbox in spring with an open beta scheduled for one of the 0.5X patches before the expansion itself actually comes out. This has been requested, rumored about, debunked, derailed. I gave up on the thought that it would ever happen, but it is a real thing. It is happening, and thus you can expect that to be another addition to come to the game. Digital only release, that's the same as everything else has been up to this point. But yeah, that's the last major announcement that they had, and that wraps up our opening keynote for Dawntrail. Overall, really good. The only thing that kind of surprised me was that we didn't get a confirmation on what the Alliance raid is, which tells me that it's probably something pretty unique and interesting, because I'm pretty sure they've almost always announced the Alliance raid. I know for a fact we got Return to Ivalice, Nier. Those were both announced at NA FanFest. I don't remember if the Void series was announced at a FanFest, but it's definitely happened more times than it hasn't happened. So either way, the only hint we got was, again, it's very Final Fantasy-esque. So, I don't know, dude. Sakaguchi has been hanging around with the Final Fantasy people a lot. Just saying. My man's been, he says he's got one more project under his belt, and everyone's waiting to see what it's going to be. And he loves Final Fantasy XIV. If you have ever been on Sakaguchi's Twitter, my man never stops playing Final Fantasy XIV. He posts like a dozen images every single day. So I wouldn't even be surprised if he's involved in that in some way. Either way, that covers the opening keynote. I think overall, Really good, really positive, some cool new stuff, some confirmation of stuff that we were hoping to hear about, and still some mysteries left in the tank. That t-shirt. But that's going to be a wrap for my overview on the opening keynote. Don't forget, we do have a letter from the producer live tomorrow at the same time as the keynote, 10 a.m. Pacific. And that is going to be our patch 6.5 part 1 preview. So we'll be getting our first look into 6.5 as well. With that, to anyone who's hanging around in Vegas, enjoy the rest of Fan Festival. To anyone at home, hopefully you're enjoying all the news and fun and speculation from behind your computer screens. We're going to get back to some FanFest fun. And with that, on YouTube, I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, take care.